Welcome back to another episode of Shalomies. I know y'all been waiting, and we are back in the studio, me and Yana, and we got a really good season for you. But before all of the deep stuff, Yana, I have a question for you. What gospel song do you think is oversung? Like when you hear "Come On" in worship, you're like, no, please, can we not sing this ever again? Worship song. I'll say worship song.
This is tough. Thank you for moving from gospel to worship.
Okay.
And because that really does help me. Because the song that immediately came to my mind was "Lord, You Are Good." Listen, the Lord is good. He is good all the time. God is good, and all the time, he's good. I'm with you. But man, I can't, like, there was a point where it was like, can we not sing this song again? And I was a part of a gospel choir when I was in college, and it was one of the ones we took on the road. And so I sung it all the time. And so even today when I'm in a church and they're like, oh, let's throw it back and sing "Lord, You Are Good," I'm like, oh God,
I don't want to throw it back.
I got to really dig deep to connect with that song. Yeah. What about you?
I don't know if it's "I Need You to Survive." I need you. You need me. We're all a part of God's body. I was a part of a church.
With me.
We sang that song all the time. I was like, I don't need y'all. Like, can we just, I didn't mean that.
I don't need y'all as crazy, Liz.
I didn't mean that. We all need each other. Ecclesiology matters. The life of the church. You cannot live out the one another's unless you do it with somebody else. But that song, because it was just long and repetitive. And then you got to hold your neighbor's hand because we have to have an embodied
Agree with
moment.
me.
Agree with me. And we're going to have an embodied moment.
Mm-hmm.
So my unredeemed self was not always happy when that song came on. Yeah.
No, I get it. I think anytime you hear a song over and over and over again, it just kind of wears on you. I will say, like, there was a church that my family was connected to. It wasn't the church that we went to, but there was a pastor there, and every service, at the end of service, they would stand in a circle and they would sing that song to one another. And I think because we were only there maybe 2 times a year, that was really deeply formative for me. I was like, oh, this is so beautiful. Like, we're looking at each other and we're singing this song to one another and we're talking about our commitment to one another. But yes, if I had to do that every week, I think I would be worn out on that too. So it's fair.
It's fair. There's also maybe opportunities for growth in my heart as well. Yana's like, no. All right. So we have been gone for just a little bit, just a change. And our break was not just lackadaisical, that we were doing things and you were busy, I was busy. And so we believed that just taking a break was what was best for both of us. So what have you been up to, Yana? What you been doing for the past few months?
Oh, man. So I've been on sabbatical. And so at the end of the year, a lot of things changed for me. And the Lord provided in such a way that I could just take some time to rest and to process some of the changes that were happening in my life. And so January, February, and March, I just kind of hit pause, which was hard to do because, we had both just had books come out. But I obeyed and hit pause, and it was really, really good. It was really, really good. I mean, there were some days where I felt like a lost puppy because it's like, how do you go from traveling, speaking, leading in your church and all those kinds of things to waking up on Monday and having nothing on your calendar, all week. And so that was weird, but I would say I've been wandering around Durham, going on walks, but also getting really good time with friends. I've gone to a few concerts. And so I went to Jackie Hill Perry's Blameless concert. That was a lot of fun. I saw Miranda Curtis. When I came to see you, we saw Todd Galbraith. And so I've just kind of been hitting my favorites, like, or the people who are on my bucket list. I saw Moonchild. I saw like Snarky Puppy. So it's been like really, really fun. I've done a little bit of traveling. So me and some friends went to St. Thomas. And so that was good and refreshing. And I've been just sitting in the Lord's presence. Silence and solitude has been like a very transformative practice for me. And I think it's because like the whole point of it is to do nothing, which is really hard for me. But the Lord is just like, hey, I love you, whether you're doing 15 things or not. Like your identity isn't wrapped up in what you can do for me or what you can do for others. It's just wrapped up in the truth that you are loved and that you're accepted and that Jesus died for you and that I want to be in your presence. And so that's been really, really good for me. I also learned how to do my makeup. We talked a little bit about that beforehand. So I've just been like just trying new things and enjoying life and practicing gratitude and crying sometimes because, you know, some things have been hard. But it's been a really good season. Yeah. What about you? Because I know you've been on the road.
Yeah. So if we take that like marker from breast and like move it all the way to the other side, that has been my past spring. And I will say, I feel like the Lord has taught me a lot about my capacity, but also decision making and just what you have the ability to do versus what you want to have the ability to do. But the spring was full of just trying to share with people about my book. So Habits of Resistance. And so that was really fun. I did some new things. And so I tried to be more creative in talking about it and with visuals. And you came out for a little launch party I did. And so that was really fun. We had a good time. And then did some kind of, I don't know, yes, it was tour stops. And so again, you came with me. We went to New York City to visit our friend Pastor Charles out there and had a really great time with his
TGH.
people. TGH, the Gathering Harlem. We love you. And that was just a really great event to connect with people in person. And so I think trying to find ways to find points of connection with people who, I know we're going to talk about this, like the community we're trying to cultivate and the types of Christians we're trying to encourage. And so it was just really fun to be face to face and with pictures and hugs and all this kind of stuff. I was also teaching Bible study at my church. I was also writing a new book, new Bible study, which wonderful project.
An author, y'all.
Author. We got projects. So Jonah is coming your way in 2027. But man, it was like some weeks I was traveling every week, multiple times a week. And while that is the work I do, so I tell people I work on the weekends and my work goes at the ebbs and flows of women's ministry. So you think about one of my friends' husbands was like, when the centerpieces come out, so does Elizabeth. And I was just like, sir. It was funny though. It was funny. Yeah, it is kind of
true.
True.
It's true.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true.
So you might have some little candle centerpieces with some table numbers on them. So it's fall and spring are really busy, but finding time in there. I visited my parents, and so that was a really good trip to go see them and hang out with them. And then this time around, I just took people with me. And so I'm grateful that I'm able to do that. So you have come with me several times and hung out. And so just as like, I get to hang out with my friends and do the work. And so in the beginning, I've probably been doing the entrepreneurial itinerant ministry thing for almost 5 years. And in the beginning, the loneliness was real because it's just you going everywhere. And the Lord just gave enough blessing to be able to bring people with me. And so that has like changed the game because it's like, I just hang out with my friends. I've done a lot of collaborative things, playing a conference. The list is long. We're going to talk about decision making, but all of it is with my friends. And so that has been one of the biggest changes that I have stepped into is trying to do work with the people that I love and are like-minded. And that has changed, I think, the quality of life that's come alongside ministry that can at times be lonely because it's you going and it's you speaking and it's you doing the events. So it's been full, but it's been fun. It's been a fun spring.
Yeah, I think one of the things I've been like so encouraged by, as I've just like watched you walk through the season is one, like just how courageous you've been, like to see you take steps of faith and to really steward the message of your book. But then also like courageous in the sense of like you're doing a lot of new things. Like one of those things being the conference at the end of the year, the Witness, and even I would say the second thing I've been really encouraged by is how much I've watched you collaborate over the last few months. And so whether it's collaborating with our good friend Ashley Irons to do Bloom, and you even did a study with them walking through the book, or collaborating with Urban Christian Women, Leah and Toshiba, to host this conference. Like, I'm just really like, I'm proud of you, friend. Like, I'm really, really proud of you and the ways in which you are doing what the Lord has put in your heart to do. But I also know that you've been busy. The girl has been busy, but I'm grateful that, it's summertime, so women conferences, all the things have kind of slowed down. So I know that you're going to be getting some rest in this season. I would be curious to know, sort of like, as you've walked through the last few months and all the busyness and all the things, like how have you been experiencing the Lord? Like, what has God been teaching you? And maybe even what passages of scripture have you been either studying or meditating on? We know Jonah. You've been studying and meditating on Jonah. But is there anything else that maybe has been speaking to you in God's word?
Yeah, it is. If I'm honest, it's Galatians 6:9.
Okay, so we still in Galatians. We still living free. I love it.
Still living free. It's the word just continues to flow.
Yeah.
Do not become weary in well doing, because if at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. And probably what I've learned from the Lord is the ways in which He shows up in the middle of the challenge, difficulty, and not when it's calm. Right. So sometimes the solution for me wasn't, oh, you need to better manage your calendar. You need to better manage these things. It's like, no, this is what your season and your life stage provide for you. And you need to trust the Lord to keep you. Trust the Lord to give you the words. Trust the Lord to give you rest. Trust the Lord to help you navigate that and troubleshoot the problem in the moment, that as we grow in the Lord and grow in the things He puts before us, trouble doesn't stop coming. We just give me the wisdom in the moment that I need. And really, I would see these momentary things and momentary blessings, even in just the people He's brought my way. So this is a really fun story for me, is that the fun part is not what I'm about to say, but there's stuff coming after it. And a couple years ago, my aunt passed away from cancer, and it just wrecked my life in a lot of ways and a lot of grief. And so I randomly met this woman at my church, and we've been getting to know each other. I volunteered at an event, and she's just wonderful. Come to find out, she knows my aunt and knows her really, really well. Like, she was at the funeral. I didn't know she was there. Like, and it just is those things. Like, through her, I get a little piece of my aunt. I get to know her in a different way. And I've seen the Lord do so many of those little things that's like in the middle of it. You don't get the blessing unless you're in the middle of it. So it just is, sometimes you just need to lean into what comes your way and trust that He is going to provide. And you don't get to see that part of Him unless you need Him. And so He's just stretched my ability to trust in Him. And, probably also what it looks like to find places of rest. And so the need to continue to push into, what do my rhythms look like? What does time with the Lord look like? What does community? So a part of what I would do is, I had a small group Bible study I was a part of that I was not leading. And so some people could have found that to be a lot. But for me, it's like, I get to show up to this space. Sometimes my homework is done, sometimes it's not. But I get my cup filled up, and it's a non-negotiable. And I started doing that about a year ago, and that tremendously helped me, because you can't be in spaces, in every space you're the one pouring out, or you're the one who's the leader. That's just not healthy for you. And so the Lord just pressing in on you can't pour from an empty cup, and you've seen what that is. So helping me move differently too.
Mhm. Man, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
How about you?
Yeah. Yeah. You know how sometimes you ask a question, but like you are not prepared for when the question is
Comes your way.
returned to you, even though you got the question ahead of time. So, yeah, you know, it's been a weird time, and you know it. Like it's been a really, really weird season of life. And so even though like I've said I've been on sabbatical, like it has actually felt like a wilderness of sorts. One, because it's not a sabbatical I chose, and it's not like after the sabbatical was over, I knew what was next. It was like I wasn't returning back to the ministry and the work that I was doing. And so it wasn't a sabbatical in its traditional sense. And I've just been navigating a lot of uncertainty. And it's been hard. Like I'm the girl, I got my full focus planner. I do my big 3 for the week, my big 3 for the day. I got Elizabeth a full focus planner
You
because I'm
did.
trying to disciple other people in the way of of full focus. Shout out to Janetta Oni because she discipled me, and I'm trying to disciple other people. And 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 my mom would even say I'm the kind of person who has like every hour, every moment of my day like scheduled. And so it's been really weird to not have that. And so in this season, I've been like reading a book called Waiting Isn't a Waste. And we'll be sure to plug it in the show notes. And in the book, he says, and I cannot say this man's last name, and I'm not going to even try. I'm not going to do that to him. But in the book, he says, waiting is living on what you know to be true about God when you don't know what's true about your life. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what's true about my life. Like I don't, in a sense. A lot has changed. And so I find myself in the waiting room. I find myself in the wilderness. But in that, it's like, how do I live on what I know to be true about God? And really the lesson for me in this season has been for me to not try to get ahead of God, or try to escape these feelings of uncertainty or even the discomfort of having a slower pace of life, because there's a discomfort in that. I'm not getting that dopamine kick from checking things off of my to-do list. I'm not my identity isn't tethered to ministry. Why? Because it's just not there in the sense that it normally was. And so all the ways in which I sort of was functioning before has kind of been uprooted. And there's this picture, even when this, like all of like this, the beginning of sort of this season of uncertainty started for me, there was this desire to be like Peter, and walk on the water, like in the storm. Like, I'm gonna be like Peter and walk on the water. And the Lord was like, no, I want you to be like Jesus in the bottom of the boat, like come take a nap with me. And I just was like, say what now? And so I feel like God has been inviting me in the midst of this storm, like in the midst of like the uncertainty, to take up the posture of Jesus, where I am resting in him and trusting that he's going to get me back to shore, and that's hard for me because then it's just like, take your hands off of it, let Jesus take the wheel, rest in him and live on what you know to be true about him. And so that's kind of where I am. It's humbling. Like it's so humbling. And I just didn't even realize how much I find my identity in what I do, in what I do. And so even when people now are like, so what are you going to do next? I find myself trying to like fill in the answer with
for sure.
things,
Yeah.
Well, I got this thing going on and I've been I'm preparing my next book proposal, and it's like, why can't you just say like, I really don't know, but I'm just resting in the Lord and taking walks around Durham and trying to serve my friends, who are in ministry and who have clarity in in a season that I don't. And so, yeah, so that's me.
Yeah. Now, what the man whose name we will not mispronounce, it is trusting what you know to be true about God when you don't know what's true.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. It's good. I was like, man, that's a good quote.
It's a good quote. Because
Yeah.
that friend, I mean, to see you really fight to stay in things, like I haven't seen you check out, like I haven't seen you kind of abandon ship, so to speak, even when things are just were really hard and complicated. And how the rest, even where you are now versus before, and seeing how the walks around Durham. And I think it's all a journey. So we've all been through the things, but to see how God is restoring you and like how he is allowing you to be in a space of what I perceive to be even in greater health and wisdom. And so it's been like, I've just been encouraged to see what God has done in you as you have just fought to stay tethered to him. So the walks around Durham are doing you good, friend.
Yeah. Often on the phone with you. And so, yeah, no, the Lord he has been incredibly faithful. And it's just it's so beautiful to be in relationship with the Lord, um, in a way where even though life gets hard, like you can have just this great sense of awareness that the Lord is with you. And so, what is it in Ephesians 2 where he says, before Christ, we were once afar off from him, without God and without hope. And so for me, that has always meant like, hey, in this world, you're going to have trouble. But the advantage that you have as a Christian is that you don't live in a broken and fallen world without hope or without God. You live in a broken and fallen world with God and with a great hope, that not only will you experience the goodness of the Lord in the great by and by, but that you will experience it, in the land of the living. And I've just been so encouraged by my friends in this season, by you and by others. I felt so supported. And it just has reminded me the importance of community and like how much we need each other, so that we can weather these seasons well. So I know it's not me. Like I know I've told somebody else, like I feel like my friends have just been a boat, for me in this season. And so it's just teaching me so much about not taking those kinds of friendships and relationships for granted.
Amen. Amen. Friends you cultivated deeply before the difficult things came. Mm-hmm. We'll put that on another episode. We'll put that on another episode.
Another one.
And another one. So, Yana, you mentioned a couple of things, but how would you say is one of the ways you've cultivated shalom the past few months that stands out to you? So if you had to choose one, and what is one of the ways in which you feel like you've really leaned into that?
Cultivating shalom. You know what? Going to counseling. Going to counseling.
Yes.
Okay. Me and Maggie, we go together real bad, okay? Maggie, that is my homie. And I'm so grateful for her. I've had other counselors in my life, but I've just really come to see the benefit of having a counselor for an extended period of time. And so I think I started counseling with Maggie like 2 years ago. And so sis has weathered many a storm with me, and just to have this place where I can be my most unfiltered self and to be met with both compassion and correction has been really, really beautiful and helpful. And so that is one
Listen.
thing that has really helped cultivate shalom in my life, because then I'm reflecting on my relationships. I'm reflecting on how I'm responding to things. I'm being offered better ways, to move forward. We've talked a lot about my attachment style and sort of, I think she said, how about we try out a secure attachment style? And I was like, how? How do you do that? What is that?
That
Let's
felt
just
real
try it
slick.
out.
Like, how about you saying I need to do things differently?
Yeah,
Is that what you're
yeah.
saying,
And so,
maybe?
but it's been really, really helpful. And
Mm.
I'm seeing God change me, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm very, very grateful for that. Yeah, that's been really good for me. What about you? What's been something that's helping to cultivate shalom in your life?
I'm not gonna take yours, because I will say my counselor, like, I even yesterday, something happened and I was like, you need to self-regulate. You need to switch to something different so you can. I was like, look at me being mature. It just the consistency, she's really helped me over the past few years. But
Mm,
I will say probably doing being intentional about my time with my friends. And so it's the scheduling of fun. So it may not be the concert or the movie, but it is, we're gonna go out to brunch and we're gonna laugh real, real hard. We're gonna eat some good food. And having those things along the way has just been really helpful for my soul. Also, being able to be intentional about pouring into the lives of the people around me. I think I can get really, really busy. And in busy seasons, I'm just focused on the next task that needs to happen. And I
mhm,
can forget the circle that you've put around you, because it can't be everybody. That's another thing. I've learned that the circle has to be smaller, because that's just what you have the capacity to handle. But that within that circle, you're trying to be more intentional with people. And so I've just seen that provide a goodness and a wholeness to me in this season that has been really, really beautiful. I feel like I'm in better places this year than I was last year at the same time. Um,
mm.
but also, for me, there's the both and of room to grow and lean into, oh, this is what God did through this. This is the beauty that got to be cultivated. If I lean in more and I'm more intentional with the things that I can actually do, that we can cultivate even more beauty in this space of shalom.
Yeah. Man, that's so good. There's something that we both did that I just kind of want to point out is like celebrating the ways in which like we are changing and growing. And that's been like really significant for me as of late, because I feel like I often would just focus on my weaknesses. I would just focus on the places where I was stuck. And it's been really like encouraging to actually either have someone else say like, "Hey, I see you're growing in these ways," or to even like have a moment where it's like, "Wait,
Yeah.
I I did that differently.
Mhm.
Go me." Go Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And so it's just like I don't think we stop enough to do that kind of self-examination, that we are always primarily, looking for the places that we need to grow. And I'm not saying we don't need to do that, because clearly there are so many places, a myriad of places. But there is like God is changing you. You are being sanctified. You are being made holy. And so even you being able to recognize like, hey, how I was living life and how I was doing things a year ago is very different than how I'm doing those things, like I'm living right now. I'm not as irritable. I'm not as reactionary. I'm not as anxious. Like those are things worth like celebrating, for sure. And I think it cultivates shalom. It cultivates a peace within us, so that we're not always in this place of angst, about how well we're doing spiritually.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know, just a thought.
No, I appreciated thoughts.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I feel like you know there's an elephant in this room that we need to address. And the elephant is that we are not in the same room. You and I are not in the same room. And we told the people, Liz, we told them that we was going to be in the same room, that we was going to do it in person and all the things. And so I'm going to let you, I'm going to let you tell the people why we, like it's your fault. I'm going to let you tell the people.
You didn't make your plane. You missed your flight. It was given that.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I don't mean to throw you under the bus. It was a shared decision.
Shared decision. One of the lessons I've learned in ministry this year, and I feel like Yana has learned, is to live within the boundaries of what is possible, and to trust the Lord with that versus trying to go beyond in ways we either do not have budget for or capacity for. And so me and Yana just came together and we're just real one about the work it takes to put together a podcast and to record and to prep, the cost of putting together a podcast. And we love what we do, but we will let you know what we do is not free. And that is just the realness of ministry. And so we wanted to choose a format that would allow us to still be video, so that you guys can see us key about Jesus, but that we will do it in our separate spaces because we felt like that was most honoring to the resources that God has given us. And we want to be able to have a long range plan for Shalomies. And so I think for us, it is to go a little bit slower, to be in our respective places so that we have longevity with this platform. So even going forward, we'll be doing episodes first and third Wednesdays of the month. And so to give you a little bit more time to watch or to listen, to think about it. And then you will still hear from us on a regular basis, but just not as often, to be better stewards, I think, of what God has given us. Anything you would add, Yana?
Yeah, no, I think it's all about sustainability. I think it's about being good stewards, and being consistent, And so, and I think if we would have went for it, one, we might have burnt ourselves out. We definitely would have been, we definitely would have went over the little budget that we had.
That little.
and so, yeah, but I think also I'm just grateful that people are listening, that they want to be a part of this conversation. I'm grateful that we have enough resources to do something visual. And I'm hopeful. I'm really, really hopeful that in time, the Lord will get us to a place where we're able to do these things in person. But I know one of the hugest, the most significant barriers to this is that we don't live in the same city. I'm in North Carolina and you in hot Texas. And so, it's hot here. I ain't going to even hold you.
No, it's a different kind of hot today. In Texas.
But it is a different.
It's different. Yeah, I take that.
And so, but, I still wanted us, to do this together. And I'm grateful that we can partner in this way to have some conversations about the theology of shalom. And so, friends, this season, we are going to be sort of having conversations around this question of, is shalom possible? Is shalom possible? I don't know. I think it was when I was in seminary, I came across this book called Is Justice Possible? Another author's name that I'm not going to butcher, but we'll put it in the show notes. And so, but it was called Is Justice Possible? And he was just speaking to how in a broken and fallen world, justice can feel elusive. That because, sin is what it is and humans are who they are. And most times they're, self-preserving, that justice isn't always served to the greatest extent or to the most God-honoring extent that it can be. And as I sort of read through that book, it really sort of formed me because I was like, well, that's true with everything. It's true with, sort of our sanctification, how much sanctification can we expect this side of heaven? Healing, how much healing can we expect this side of heaven? But then also how much shalom, could we expect to experience this side of heaven? We know what God created us for, right? A world filled with shalom, a world in which we would thrive and not have any sort of awareness or concept of like anger, anxiety, sickness. Like we wouldn't even know that reality. But we do because of sin. But we also know where God is taking us, right? He's taking us into a reality where we will experience shalom to its fullest extent. And so then the question becomes like, well, then how do we navigate and cultivate shalom, like in the in between? Right. And so theologians talk about this as the now, not yet. Man, I don't know about you, Liz, but there was a season like every time I would hear that in class, I'm just crying. Like, oh man, it's crazy. His kingdom has come and it's coming. Like just a wreck, because it's just like longing for the not yet. And we've talked about this, like how the theology of shalom and what we're going to experience later in life, like when the new heaven and new earth, how this promise of shalom is a thing that pulls us through to help us to cultivate shalom. And so that's what we're going to be talking about this season, sort of answering that question, sort of living in that tension and asking the question, how do we live as Shalomies, right? How do we live as people who are seeking to cultivate shalom wherever brokenness is found? And so, Liz, I'm so excited about these conversations. I'm so excited about some of the guests that we are still praying to have, because I think it's going to be so good, and not just for our listeners, but also for us.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, because I think the hope is to wrestle with some things that maybe are at the top of y'all's timelines, or just the conversations you're having with other believers in your church or your family members, and to lean into, when I think about words I heard a lot in seminary, the tension of, what does it mean to hold on to this hope, but we can't ignore what's right in front of us. And is there a better way? Is there another way that we can be inspired and encouraged by the scriptures to walk in faithfulness? We've got some folks that we are hoping and praying will be on the podcast with us to offer just their wisdom and their expertise, because some of it is widening our lens for what it means to be a Christian throughout history. And maybe how can we learn from some Christians of the past to be able to keep believing that shalom is in fact possible, and that we are experiencing it now and will experience it in eternity. But it's going to be fun. And it's also just me and Yana. We just two people who love to kiki and also use big, deep theological terms at the same time.
Yeah. Shalomies. Case in point, two homies musing on the theology of shalom. And so, friends, thank y'all so much for joining us today. If you're interested in learning more about today's topic, please check the show notes. All the books, all the passages of scripture that we talked about will be linked there. But also, friends, we would love to hear from you. And so feel free to leave us a message on Instagram or shoot us an email at podcast@thewoodsonInstitute.org. That'll also be in the show notes. And please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave us a review, or maybe just to share this podcast episode with a friend. And so me and Liz just kind of just caught up, sharing what's been going on in our lives over the last few months. Maybe these are conversations you want to have with your friends. Like, hey, how's the first 2 quarters of the year been going? What's been going well? How have you seen the Lord move in your life? How can I be praying for you? And so for us, we want these podcast episodes to just be conversation starters. That it would be a conversation starter for you and your relationship with the Lord, but also with the people in your life. And so thank y'all so much for listening, and we'll see y'all next time. Grace and peace.